Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Michael Sheen. Michael Christopher Sheen OBE is a Welsh actor and political activist. After training at London's Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, he worked mainly in theatre throughout the 1990s, and made notable stage appearances in Romeo and Juliet, Don't Fool with Love, Peer Gynt, The Seagull, The Homecoming and Henry V. His performances in Amadeus at the Old Vic and Look Back in Anger at the National Theatre were nominated for Olivier Awards in 1998 and 1999, respectively. In 2003 he was nominated for a third Olivier Award for his performance in Caligula at the Donmar Warehouse. Sheen has become better known as a screen actor since the 2000s, in particular through his roles in various biopics with writer Peter Morgan. He has starred in a trilogy of films as British politician Tony Blair, the television film The Deal in 2003, followed by The Queen and The Special Relationship. For playing Blair he was nominated for both a BAFTA Award and an Emmy. He was also nominated for a BAFTA as the troubled comic actor Kenneth Williams in BBC 4's 2006 Fantabulosa, and was nominated for a fourth Olivier Award in 2006 for portraying the broadcaster David Frost in Frost, Nixon, a role he revisited in the 2008 film adaptation of the play. He also starred as the outspoken football manager Brian Clough in The Damned United. Since 2009 and into the 2010s, Sheen has become known for a wider variety of roles. In 2009, Sheen appeared in two fantasy films, Underworld, Rise of the Lycans, and The Twilight Saga, New Moon, while in 2010 he made a 4-episode guest appearance in the NBC comedy 30 Rock. He appeared in the science fiction film Tron: Legacy, and Woody Allen's romantic comedy Midnight in Paris. At Easter 2011, Sheen directed and starred in National Theatre Wireless The Passion. From late 2011 until early 2012, Sheen played the title role in Hamlet at the Young Vic. In 2013, he received a Golden Globe nomination for his role in Showtime's television drama Masters of Sex. Early life. Sheen was born in Newport, Wales, the son of Irene, a secretary, and Merrick, a British Steel Corporation personnel manager. He has one younger sister, Joanne. When he was 5, the family moved to Wallasey, but settled in his parents' hometown of Port Talbot 3 years later. Director Sam Mendes has described Sheen as a stage preacher and attributed that to the actor's Welsh roots. "I'm serious. He's Welsh in the tradition of Anthony Hopkins and Richard Burton, fiery, mercurial, unpredictable. A keen footballer, Sheen was scouted and offered a place on Arsenal's youth team at the age of 12, but his family was unwilling to relocate to London. He later said he was grateful for his parents' decision, as the chances of forging a professional football career were so slim. He lost interest in playing football in his early teens. Sheen was raised in a theatrical family. His parents were both involved in local amateur operatics and musicals, and later in life, his father worked as a part-time professional Jack Nicholson look-alike. In his teenage years, Sheen was involved with the West Glamorgan Youth Theatre and later, the National Youth Theatre of Wales. "It was a brilliant youth theatre," Sheen has said, "and it taught me not only a lot about acting but also about work ethic. It was very disciplined." He was influenced by the performances of Laurence Olivier and the writings of theatre critic Kenneth Tynan. "The combination of those two things kind of blew my head off." Sheen was educated at Llanbaglin Primary School, Glanafan Comprehensive School, and finally Neath Port Talbot College, where he sat A-levels in English, drama and sociology. He considered studying English at university but instead decided to attend drama school. He moved to London in 1988 to train as an actor at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. Having spent the previous year working in a Welsh fast food restaurant called Burger Master. To earn money, Sheen was granted the Laurence Olivier Bursary by the Society of London Theatre in his second year at RADA. He graduated in 1991 with a BA in acting. Classical stage roles 1991-2001. Sheen worked predominantly in theatre in the 1990s and has since remarked that he will always feel slightly more at home on stage. It's more of an actor's medium. You're your own editor. Nobody else is choosing what is being seen of you. His first professional role, while still in his third and final year at RADA, was in When She Danced at the Globe Theatre in 1991. He later described the role as a big break. One day I was at RADA doing a movement class, the next I was at a read-through with Vanessa Redgrave and Francis de la Tour. Milton Schulman of the Evening Standard praised an excellent performance, while The Observer wrote of a notable West End debut. In 1992, Sheen's performance in Romeo and Juliet at the Royal Exchange received a Men Theatre Award nomination, and led theatre critic Michael Coveney to declare him the most exciting young actor of his generation, a volatile, electrifying, and technically fearless performer. His 1993 turn as Perdiccas in Alfred de Musset's Don't Fool with Love at the Donmar Warehouse was nominated for the Ian Charleson Award, and was described by The Independent as quite thrilling. Also in 1993, Sheen appeared in the world premiere of Harold Pinter's Moonlight at the Almeida Theatre, and made his television debut in the 1993 BBC miniseries Gallowglass. Sheen played the title role in Peer Gynt in 1994. The Yukio Ninagawa production was staged in Oslo, Tokyo and at the Barbican Centre, London. The Times praised Sheen's astonishing vitality, while The Independent found him sensationally good and noted that the Norwegian press were grudgingly captivated by the mercurial Welsh boyo. In other 1994 work, Sheen appeared in Le Livre Dispenser at the Ode Acute en Tête de l'Europe, Paris, and starred in the cross-dressing farce Charlie's Aunt at the Royal Exchange. In 1995 he appeared opposite Kate Beckinsale in a production of The Seagull at the Theatre Royal Bath, and with the encouragement of Thelma Holt directed and starred in The Dresser at the Theatre Royal Plymouth. In addition, Sheen made his film debut that year, appearing opposite Kenneth Branagh in Othello. 1996 saw Sheen at the National Theatre for The Ends of the Earth, an original play by David Lann. A minor role in Mary Riley marked the first of 3 film collaborations with director Stephen Frears. Sheen's most significant appearance of 1997 was the title role in Henry V, staged by the Royal Shakespeare Company at their Stratford-upon-Avon Theatre, which earned him a second Ian Charleson Award nomination. The Times praised a blisteringly intelligent performance. Also in 1997, he appeared in a revival of Harold Pinter's The Homecoming at the National Theatre, directed by Roger Michell, and directed Badfinger, starring Rhys Ifans, at the Donmar Warehouse. The latter was staged by the Thin Language Theatre Company, which Sheen had co-founded in 1991, aiming to further Welsh theatre. He then appeared in the biographical film Wilde, playing Robbie Ross to Stephen Fry's Oscar Wilde. In early 1998, Sheen formed a production company, The Foundry, with Helen McCrory and Robert Delamere, to promote the work of emerging playwrights, and produced A Little World of Our Own at the Donmar Warehouse, which gave Colin Farrell his West End debut. From 1998 to 1999, Sheen starred as Mozart in a successful revival of Amadeus. The Peter Hall-directed production was staged at the Old Vic, London, and later transferred to the Music Box on Broadway. Ben Brantley, chief theatre critic for The New York Times, was particularly vocal in his praise. He noted that Mr. Sheen elicits a real poetry from the role and felt that while watching him you start to appreciate the derivation of the term star. This actor is so luminous it's scary. The Independent found him quite stunning as Mozart. His fantastically physical performance convinces you of his character's genius, and the play catches fire whenever he's on stage. Sheen was nominated for a Laurence Olivier Award for Best Supporting Performance and an Outer Critics Circle Award for Outstanding Actor. In 1999, Sheen explored the role of Jimmy Porter in the National Theatre's production of Look Back in Anger. In 2003, Sheen described the production as the most enjoyable thing I've ever done. Everything came together. The Daily Mail declared him a definitive Jimmy Porter. Simply exhilarating, and his great jazz riffs of speeches mercurial and irresistible. Sheen has cornered the market in explosive energy, said The Independent. But this thrilling performance is his finest yet. The Financial Times noted, as Jimmy Porter, a role of staggering difficulty in every way. Michael Sheen gives surely the best performance London has yet seen from him. You hang on every word he utters. This is a dazzlingly through-the-body performance. He was nominated for a Laurence Olivier Award for Best Actor and an Evening Standard Award for Best Actor. The Deal, The Queen and Fantabulosa, 2002-2006. At this point in his career, Sheen began to devote more time to film work. Heartlands, a Little Scene 2002 film about a naive man's road trip in the Midlands, was his first leading film role. While The Guardian dismissed the cloying, bittersweet regional lottery Brit film, it noted that Sheen himself has a childlike, Frank Spencer-ish charm. It was great to do something that was so different. Sheen has said of the role, I usually play very extreme characters. Also in 2002, he had a minor role in the action-adventure film The Four Feathers. In 2003, Sheen appeared in Bright Young Things, the directorial debut of his Wild co-star Stephen Fry, an adaptation of Evelyn Waugh's novel. The film followed high society party-goers in decadent, pre-war London. Sheen played a gay aristocrat in an ensemble cast which included James McAvoy, Emily Mortimer, David Tennant, Dan Aykroyd, Jim Broadbent and Peter O'Toole. While the Los Angeles Times said he shone, The Guardian felt the role drastically underuses his talents. Sheen described his character as possibly the campus man in cinema history and relished a scene where I do drugs with a then 95-year-old, so John Mills. In other 2003 film work, Sheen portrayed the werewolf leader Lucien in Underworld, and made a brief appearance in the sci-fi film Timeline. Sheen also returned to the stage in 2003 to play the title role in Caligula at the Donmar Warehouse, directed by Michael Grandage. It was the first of just 3 stage appearances during the 2000s. His young daughter was now based in Los Angeles, which made more frequent stage runs in Britain impractical. The Independent's critic declared it one of the most thrilling and searching performances I have ever witnessed, while the Daily Telegraph described him as an outrageously charismatic actor with an astonishing physical presence. The Times praised a riveting performance, while The Guardian found him highly impressive. At one point he attacks his court poet with a single hair-raising leap across a chair and table. Sheen won an Evening Standard Award for Best Actor and a Critics' Circle Theatre Award for Best Actor, and was again nominated for a Laurence Olivier Award for Best Actor. Sheen's breakthrough role was as British politician Tony Blair in 2003's The Deal. The Channel 4 film explored the so-called Granita Pact made by Tony Blair and Gordon Brown prior to the 1994 Labour Party leadership election, and was the actor's first collaboration with screenwriter Peter Morgan. Director Stephen Frears cast him because he was in Mary Riley, and I knew he was brilliant. Filmed while he was playing Caligula nightly on stage. Sheen has remarked, "It's interesting that in searching for monsters to play, you often end up playing leaders." The Daily Telegraph praised his earnest yet steely portrayal, while The Guardian found him excellent. "This is intelligent and honest casting." In 2004, Sheen starred in ITV's Dirty Filthy Love, a comic film about a man dealing with OCD and Tourette's after a marital separation. Sheen spoke of treading a fine line because a lot of the symptoms are intrinsically comical. He was nominated for a BAFTA Award for Best Television Actor and ARTS Best Actor Award. Also in 2004, Sheen played a pompous rock star in the romantic comedy Laws of Attraction and produced and starred in The Banker, which won a BAFTA Award for Best Short Film. In 2005, Sheen starred in the National Theatre's production of The UN Inspector, a David Farr adaptation of The Government Inspector. The Times wrote of a scathingly brilliant and inventive performance, while Variety noted that the actor adds comic finesse to his apparently ceaseless repertoire. The Evening Standard, while conceding that the performance was technically brilliant, expressed bemusement as to why one of the most mercurial and inspiring actors we have seems set on impersonating Rick May all throughout. Also that year, he took part in the Old Vic's 24-hour play in which The Telegraph felt he dazzled. In 2005 film work, Sheen starred in Dead Long Enough, a small-budget Welsh-Irish film with his longtime friend Jason Hughes. In addition, he had a supporting role in Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven, made a cameo appearance in The League of Gentlemen's Apocalypse, and starred in the short film The Open Doors. Sheen came to international attention in 2006 for his portrayal of Tony Blair in The Queen. The film focused on the differing reactions of the British royal family and the newly appointed Prime Minister following the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, in 1997. It was Sheen's third collaboration with director Stephen Frears and his second with screenwriter Peter Morgan. He enjoyed reprising his role because Blair, at this point in his career, had a weight to him that he didn't have before. When asked to discuss his personal opinion of Blair, Sheen admitted that the more time he spent working on the character, the less opinion he has of the politician. "Now when I watch him on TV, I hear his voice. It's sort of like a cross between a family member, a friend, and seeing a really old embarrassing video of yourself." Peter Travers of Rolling Stone praised a sensational performance, alert and nuanced, while Empire spoke of an uncanny, insightful performance. Sheen was nominated for a BAFTA Award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. His second film appearance of 2006 was a supporting role in Blood Diamond as an unscrupulous diamond dealer. Also in 2006, Sheen starred as the troubled English comic actor Kenneth Williams in BBC 4's Fantabulosa. In preparation for the role, he lost 2.5 stone, studied archival footage, and read Williams' published diaries. Sheen has said he is fascinated by finding the private side of the public face. The Times found his performance mesmerizing, while The Observer described it as a characterization for which the description tour de force is, frankly, pretty faint praise. He won ARTS Award for Best Actor, and received his second BAFTA nomination of 2006 for Best Television Actor. Sheen starred in 2 other BBC television productions in 2006, playing H.G. Wells in H.G. Wells' War with the World and Nero in Ancient Rome, The Rise and Fall of an Empire. Frost, Nixon and the Damned United, 2007–2009. From 2006 to 2007, Sheen starred as the television broadcaster David Frost in Frost, Nixon, at both the Donmar Warehouse and Gielgud Theatre in London and at the Jacobs Theatre on Broadway. The play, written by Peter Morgan, directed by Michael Grandage and co-starring Frank Langella, was a critical and commercial success, but Sheen initially accepted the role as a favour to his friends and never thought it was going anywhere. The Guardian said the actor exactly captures Frost's verbal tics and mannerisms while suggesting a nervousness behind the self-assurance. He's got the voice, the mannerisms, the Blaze said the Financial Times, but more than that. Sheen, as viscerally exciting an actor as any in Britain today, shows us the hunger of Frost's ambition and fox-like instinct for the hunt and the kill. Sheen was nominated for a Laurence Olivier Award for Best Actor and a Drama League Award for Distinguished Performance. Sheen next appeared in the 2007 film Music Within as a political activist with cerebral palsy. He spoke of having a responsibility to accurately portray the condition. Variety said his performance was remarkable, utterly convincing. USA Today found him outstanding, while the Los Angeles Times felt he was reminiscent of Daniel Day-Lewis in My Left Foot, bringing a vibrancy and wit to the role. Also that year, Sheen starred in the short film Air Locker, How to Say Goodbye in Space, with Derek Jacobi, and was invited to join the actors branch of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts. Sheen reprised the role of David Frost in 2008's Frost, Nixon, a film dramatization of the Nixon interviews of 1977. Despite appearing in the original stage production in a part written for him by Peter Morgan, Sheen was surprised to have been cast in the film. Peter said he'd only be prepared to give the rights to someone who would cast me as Frost, which was very nice, but when the studios get their hands on something, right up until we started filming, I was prepared to be disappointed. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times asserted that Sheen embodied his character in a compelling and tense performance, while the Wall Street Journal felt he was a brilliant actor who grows his character from a bright-eyed social butterfly to a gimlet-eyed interrogator. However, the New York Times felt the likable, watchable Mr. Sheen has been pitted against a scene stealer in Frank Langella's Nixon. Frost himself later said it was a wonderful performance. Sheen was the recipient of the Variety Award at the British Independent Film Awards 2008. 2009 saw Sheen portray another public figure. He starred in The Damned United as the outspoken football manager Brian Clough. The Tom Hooper-directed film focused on Clough's disastrous 44-day tenure as manager of Leeds United, and marked Sheen's fifth collaboration with writer Peter Morgan. The actor has said Clough is the real-life character he enjoyed playing most. The Guardian, writing in 2009, declared it the best performance of his big-screen career, while The Times found him magnificent. USA Today praised Sheen's masterful performance, while the Los Angeles Times felt he played the role with a cheeky dark panache and skillful verve. Entertainment Weekly asserted that despite American audiences' unfamiliarity with Clough, what's lost in translation is recovered easily enough in Michael Sheen's astonishing performance. Variety noted that his typically scrupulous channeling of Clough gets the tics and mannerisms right, but also carves a moving portrait of a braggart suddenly out of his depth. Also in 2009, Sheen reprised his role as a werewolf in Underworld, Rise of the Lycans, a prequel to the original film. Of his decision to take part, Sheen has said, "My rule of thumb is that I want to do things I'd like to go and see myself." The New York Times felt he was the movie's greatest asset, taking a lively break From his usual high-class duties to bring wit, actual acting and some unexpected musculature to the goth horror flick, Variety said he hit all the right notes in a star-powered performance that will amuse if not amaze anyone who only knows the actor as Tony Blair or David Frost. While Richard Corliss of Time noted that he tries bravely to keep a straight face. Sheen had a supporting role in 2009's The Twilight Saga: New Moon, the second film in the highly popular vampire series. He was paid a reported £5 million fee, and director Chris Weitz has said he aggressively pursued the actor for the role. In its review, Rolling Stone said, late in the film a real actor Michael Sheen shows up as the mind-reading Aro of the Italian Volturi vampires and sparks things up. You can almost hear the young cast thinking, is that acting? It looks hard, so Sheen is quickly ushered out, while the New York Times said he preens with plausible menace. USA Today felt he plays the character with more high-pitched giddiness than menace. He was named Actor of the Year at GQ magazine's annual Men of the Year ceremony. Sheen made 2 one-off stage appearances in 2009. He performed a scene from Betrayal as part of a Harold Pinter tribute evening at the National Theatre, and performed improvisational comedy as part of the Groundlings Crazy Joe show in Los Angeles. Charity work. Sheen is the honorary president of Wales Council for Voluntary Action, and plays an important part in the public work of the lead national body for the voluntary sector in Wales. Accepting the role, he explained, I plan to use my role to actively challenge and support WCVA and their impact and role in supporting the community, and keeping us focused on what matters locally as well as the need for national leadership. He is also an ambassador for Treat Trust Wales and is the Welsh ambassador of Into Film, a charity which offers after-school film clubs to state primary and secondary schools in an effort to improve literacy levels. He is also an ambassador of the environmental charity Keep Wales Tidy. He is a patron of British charities, including Scene, Healing the Wounds, the Relationships Centre and WGCADA. He has taken part in a number of charity football matches, most notably captaining the winning Soccer-Aid 2010 team at Wembley Stadium, as well as appearing in the 2012 and 2014 matches. He is a patron of the British Independent Film Awards and ambassador for the Dylan Thomas Prize, and vice president of Port Talbot Town FC. Personal life. Sheen was in a relationship with English actress Kate Beckinsale from 1995 until 2003. They met when cast in a touring production of The Seagull in early 1995, and began living together shortly afterwards. Their daughter Lily Mo Beckinsale Sheen was born in 1999 in London, England. The actress has said she was embarrassed that Sheen never proposed but felt as if she were married. Their relationship ended in January 2003, soon after the couple moved to Los Angeles from London. Beckinsale had persuaded director Len Wiseman to cast Sheen in Underworld, but while on set she and Wiseman fell in love and subsequently married in 2004. Sheen has said he continues to live in Los Angeles to be close to his daughter. He remains friends with Beckinsale. We were very lucky in that we didn't have an acrimonious split, Beckinsale has said. We are still very close and our daughter sees us around each other. He's absolutely one of my most favorite people ever. I love him dearly. I would miss him dreadfully if he wasn't in my life. Sheen has said that Beckinsale will always be one of the most important people in my life. I have real love for her. Sheen had a long-distance relationship with English ballet dancer Lorraine Stewart from late 2004 until mid-2010. He dated Canadian actress Rachel McAdams from mid-2010 to early 2013. In early 2014, he began dating American comedian Sarah Silverman. Other honors: Sheen was appointed Officer of the Order of the British Empire in the 2009 New Year Honours List for his services to drama. He was awarded the Freedom of the Borough of Neath Port Talbot, Wales in 2008 for his services in the field of the dramatic arts. He is an honorary Fellow of the University of Wales, Newport, the Royal Welsh College of Music, and Swansea Metropolitan University, and has been awarded the James Joyce Award by University College Dublin. Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Would you like to know more?